Hello, hi, welcome. I'm Symbiosis, and I want to do something a little more reminiscent of my older content. If you're new here, first off, welcome on in. I hope you enjoy your stay enough to want to like and subscribe. I'm really close to 1,000 subs, and I'd greatly appreciate it if I could make it there before the end of the year. Anywho, before the summarizing series and honest thoughts, I would just come on here and talk about an idea I had, or even something I felt particularly passionate about. So, without meandering for the sake of padding the video, let's just jump into my favorite episode in all of Kamen Rider. Now I'm sure you're probably wondering which episode from which series could it possibly be? Maybe it's something from Gov that spurred me into making this video? Maybe it's something from O's or Forze that made me change my perspective on the series as a whole? Perhaps it could be a form reveal episode? It's Gaim's episode 25. Gridon and Bravo the strongest tag. It's the one where Oren makes Junoichi wear drag. Now I'm sure you're baffled as to why I chose this episode, not just out of all of Gaim, but all of Kamen Rider. And to really break down why I feel so strongly about this episode, I need to go through and break down what I believe makes it so special, providing context where needed. Without further ado, let's get into it. So it starts off with Knuckle and Gaim fighting some Invis, which is kind of fitting considering Knuckle's debut episode was also in a Bravo and Gridon-centric episode. Once they and Ryugen take out the Invis and discuss what to do next, it cuts to Junoichi behind the crowd of people they saved, lamenting the attention they're getting as well as the removal of the rankings. One overheard conversation which we may or may not get back to in an opening later, we get to the setup of the episode. Junoichi is depressed, Oren gives him a hard time, however also takes this as an opportunity to mold him into a man. There is also a scene of Kota and Kaito clashing ideals, which if you want my full thoughts on that, it is kinda in the first video I ever uploaded. Wink wink, nudge nudge, plug plug plug, shill shill shill.
Look, are you trying to insinuate something?
No. Yes.
Also, something I swear was in a different episode is the human villains discovering the existence of the forbidden fruit, which should be more prominent in my mind, but honestly I'm more curious to how they didn't notice the quote-unquote guy they were looking for until he called out to them, despite sitting in the middle of a room with a glass walkway going around said room. So one training montage in the most Oren way possible later, we get into some of what I truly believe makes this episode so special.
そうだよ俺は偽物だよそんなこと俺が一番よく分かってんだよあんたはいいよなやりたいことはっきりしててだけど今の俺は自分のやりたいことさえもはっきりしてないんだよ
This is such a good reveal as it contextualizes his behavior up until this point, deriving a purpose and sense of self from being a leader of a dance group and striving to be the best. Only to have it not only dissolve like it didn't mean anything, but to find that seemingly everyone moved on without him, even mocking him behind his back, leaving him feeling lost in what he truly wants out of life. A feeling I'm sure everyone can relate to at some point. Hell, I even know people in real life that are several years older than him that struggle with this, wondering if they made the right choices, if they perhaps did make a mistake at some point, if it's too late for them to work towards the thing they actually want to do, showing that for some people, making the right choice in of itself is the most difficult part. And having an eccentric character like Oren pull back the theatrics to not only understand, but to empathize with what he's going through, it adds a third dimensional layer to two characters whom most other shows would have already thrown away as early comical villains. And we're not even done here. Jumping back to Kota, he fights Junoichi wallowing at... Droopers? Weird fucking name. Kota and Junoichi chat for a bit, avoiding the fact that Kota killed his old partner in crime just over 10 episodes ago, as well as saying having friends and being young grosses him out? Alright then. I love this interaction because it shows that Kota is going through something similar, yet so, no pun intended, alien to Junoichi's predicament, allowing for both characters to understand and relate to each other. That is until Oren appears and shows us why he's such a great character.
Huh? いいこと？その子はね今が一番大切な時本物になろうと必死にあがいてるのよそれをあなたみたいな不良に邪魔させないわちょっと
Side note, we stand this man on this channel. Yet another really good scene that contextualizes his actions in this episode specifically. He's doing this because he perceives a young person potentially throwing away his future and is actively trying to be a mentor for him in his time of need. Granted, it is followed by a really silly fight sequence where, while I can see people having problems with it, I don't personally find it undercutting the scene prior. The rest of the fight plays out how you would expect. They're attacked by Inves, Junoichi has to make a decision on whether he intervenes or not, to which what you think happened. Gaim slips into his new form, which I can't really blame them for. It was introduced only 2 episodes earlier, and it is an awesome suit design. Oren sneaks off with Junoichi, and they have a personal mentorship moment. Even so, one more thing happens. Junichi explains to Oren what is really going on, and instead of cutting him off or brushing away what he's saying, Oren goes off to investigate, changing his perspective as well as his and Junichi's dynamic with the other characters for the rest of the series. This is why I'm so passionate about Kamen Rider. This is why I constantly sing the praises of Gaim. This is why this is my favorite episode of all time. Because behind all the wacky and silly antics and all the colorful costumes and effects lies a story of someone wanting to protect people, especially the youth, and give them the room and guidance to grow. Just like the Showa-era writers of yesteryear. And nowhere is that more beautifully symbolized than in the oldest, most flamboyant character in the series, acting not like a caricature, but a person doing all that they can to help not just someone in need, but another caricature-esque villain turned good guy, harkening back to tenets crucial to Kamen Rider since the original installment. And this isn't something that just shows up and then never gets addressed until it's convenient for them, like some other series. This is a turning point in both of these characters' development as well as their roles in the story. To do all that and so much more in one single episode is a testament to the sheer quality that can be seen in this franchise. Also, I don't think I put enough emphasis on the fact that this came from Oren and Junoichi of all people. Oren and Junoichi! We're not even talking about the primary writer, or the secondary, or the tertiary. We're not even talking about the main villain writers, or some special MacGuffin writer. We're talking about early comic relief villain writers. For comparison, imagine an episode of Dragon Ball Super that juggles the grander narrative, the message of finding your place in the world, as well as being centered around perseverance and overcoming challenges life throws at you through pushing your limits. And it's an episode that focuses on Tien and Chaozu. Say what you will about Gaim and the many writers that it has, plenty can be said about the ones introduced in specials. But the fact that so many of the ones introduced in the series get so much care put into each, while not sacrificing the narrative in any significant way, is really impressive. Hell, there are main writers in other series that wish they got this kind of treatment. I'm not gonna name names, but I know you're thinking of some right now. Well, that's it for me. Let me know what your favorite episode is, whether it be in a comment, a video, a dissertation written with an old quill. I wanted to do something different because popping out summarizes non-stop was getting creatively barren, and I've been putting off working on the rest of the Honest Thoughts mecha vid because the Heisei one is looking to be over an hour long, and it's not as fulfilling as the other stuff. I'm not done with either of them. In fact, I still have at least 15 plus more summaries I could work on, and I do like to occasionally just say my piece on particular things in a more low-effort fashion sometimes. Will I ever make another episode review, retrospective, whatever this is? I don't know. I appreciate you all for watching, and yeah, thanks for hanging out.